We're going to look at IC engine fundamentals with a 4-stroke 10 horsepower engine. It's a Briggs and Stratton engine, and I'm going to explain to you how the engine works. It's a 4-stroke engine, so it's like a piston cylinder device and how energy is produced with a piston cylinder device. So the first thing we're going to look at is what are the parts of a piston cylinder engine. And what we have here is two sets of valves. One is for the intake of the air and the fuel coming in, and the exhaust is for the contents that after combustion that get out of the engine and through to your tailpipe. And what we have here is a piston and a cylinder, which is basically the working area for the fluid, and then this is connected to a camshaft, which basically rotates the gear train for your car. So if you look at it, there's a combustion chamber. That's where the fuel and the air burn, and they get in and pushing the cylinder back and forth and cause a rotary motion, and that's basically converted through the piston rod into a shaft. So the rocker arms will basically control the inlet and outlet valves through the camshaft, so everything is controlled through one major rotor. This is more a simplified drawing of this. Basically, this is a cylinder piston which is going up and down, and this region, the diameter of the cylinder or the piston which goes up and down is called the bore, and the stroke is basically from the top location of the piston inside the cylinder to the bottom location, which is called the top dead center and the bottom dead center, and this is called the stroke. The inlet and exhaust valves close and open depending on what the pressure and the timing of the valve is. And this gives you the displacement volume, which is basically the volume of the cylinder through which the air goes through changes, and this is called the clearance volume. So now let's look at the first stroke of a 4-stroke engine. First thing is, when you're looking at it, it's at the top dead center. That means there's very little air in the air and fuel mixture in the piston cylinder device. So the intake valve is slightly open and the exhaust valve is closed, so the air starts flowing in with a mixture of the fuel into the cylinder, and as it comes in, as you can see, the blue dots is filling up the cylinder and it goes down, and this is rotating around in clockwise, anti-clockwise, depending on whichever way you're looking at it. And once the air and the fuel gas mixture fills in completely, the intake stroke is complete. That means the cylinder, the piston has reached the bottom dead center of the cylinder, and it has nowhere to go further other than to come back up. So if you look at it this way, this is the simplified drawing of this, the intake stroke, and the cylinder, the piston moves from the top to the bottom. So now let's go to the next stroke, which is the compression stroke, where now the cylinder, the piston is going to come back up, and it's going to compress the intake fluid into a higher pressure, and basically compressing it and also increasing the temperature of it, and pressure and temperature of it. And as it goes up, all these yellow dots are basically the air that was in the inside the entire cylinder is getting pushed into this small region here, and it's in a very high pressure now. But at this point, both the intake valve and the exhaust valves are closed. So this is what is happening, is basically it's going from the bottom dead center to the top dead center, both the valves are closed. And this is called the compression stroke. Then we got the power stroke, which is now that everything is at a very high pressure here. The fuel is ignited with the spark plug, and the spark plug ignites the fuel, basically, which causes a huge energy increase inside this and causes the piston, which is at the top location, there's a top dead center, to push back, basically rotating the shaft, and it causes the piston motion to come back up. And in this case, again, the intake valve and the exhaust valves are closed. That is, nothing is coming in and nothing is going out. And this is what shows you the spark plug right here, which is igniting the fuel air mixture. And then this is called the power or the expansion stroke. That is, the air and fuel mixture is being expanded as it combusts and all the way down. And then these are the two parts of the power stroke. So now all the energy has been extracted by pushing the piston back in, and the cylinder comes back all the way to the bottom dead center now. That means it has nowhere to go, and it has completed one full cycle of rotation, and now all the air and fuel mixture which is being combusted is at a lower pressure, and as it keeps opening all the way to the really low pressure when it's completely fully open. At this point, again, the intake valve and the exhaust valve are closed, but as soon as it reaches the bottom dead center, the exhaust valve opens because the pressure is low enough for the exhaust valve to open, and at this point, this air with fuel mixture would then be pushed out of the exhaust valve, and then from the bottom dead center, it comes back to top dead center, the exhaust valves are closed, and it goes out, and what come back to the beginning, which is the start of the intake stroke, and again, the intake valve will open, and the flow will come back in, and you will start the cycle. And basically, the piston moves from bottom dead center to top dead center in 4 strokes, and that's why it's called the 4-stroke engine. To produce 1 power stroke for your engine, you need 4 strokes of the piston cylinder, and that's basically what a 4-stroke. There are variations of this. There are a 2-stroke engine, which is also very common, and that has a little different way of working, but this is a 4-stroke engine. What happens if you, I want to go back to your thermodynamics, and when you do take your thermodynamics courses, you will see that you will draw a PV diagram, which is the pressure volume diagram, and this is the region where this is the high pressure region, this is the low pressure region, and this is where the energy is added, and this is where the energy is exhausted, and this is basically what the area under the curve is called, and that's the amount of energy that's produced by your piston cylinder device because of the burning of the fuel. If you look at it in a more simplified way, it is basically, it's got 4 ways of producing the power. One is the compression stroke. This is where the fuel is added and burned, and then this is the expansion stroke, and this is where the exhaust gases are coming out. So this is compression, this is energy addition, this is expansion, and this is the exhaust. Okay, so that means the energy is given out, and the hot gases are coming out of the engine. So during this process, you are producing energy which is right under this curve, and that energy is what your piston cylinder device is producing. But in reality, it never occurs in this direction because the air is coming from outside and the exhaust is going out to the atmosphere. So you end up with a more complex drawing where it shows that this is the intake that's coming in, and this is the compression, this is the expansion, this is the exhaust. But somewhere here, the inlet and the outlet are not exchanging heat. The inlet is basically pure air coming in, and the exhaust is basically going out into the atmosphere through the tailpipe. So that basically explains how a 4-cylinder, 4-stroke, 1-cylinder engine works for a 10 horsepower Briggs and Stratton. Next I'll show you how it looks on a real engine. Now we're going to see how a real components look like for the 4-stroke engine. What we're going to see is, I want to take off the top cap of the engine, which is the piston cylinder, and then here you can see the spark plug, and on the other side is the spark igniter that is used to ignite the fuel air mixture. So right now you can see it's my piston is at the top dead center. That means the exhaust valve is just exhausted, and at this point if I rotate it, I can see that the exhaust valve closes and the intake valve opens, and it starts opening and opening and opening till it reaches all the way to the bottom. And now you can see that my cylinder, the piston is at the bottom of my cylinder, and now all this air that's coming is at low pressure and it needs to be compressed. So now I'm going to continue my cycle here, and I'm going to continue rotating this shaft till I get to the top dead center. That means all the valves are closed, and now all my gases are compressed into the small area right here, and then I ignite the spark. And when I do ignite the spark, I produce a power, and it starts going back down, and it goes all the way to the bottom, again to the bottom dead center, and then at this point it's completely expanded and it has lost all the power that is generated, and it can't go further down, so it's going to come back up, and this time the exhaust valve is going to open. And once the exhaust valve starts opening, all the gases will be exhausted and it will come back to the top dead center, and that basically completes your 4-stroke engine. And both these valves are operated through a cam, connected to the cam here with the springs. Basically that operates the same, the shaft is operating the valve opening and thing, and this is called the timing that ensures that everything is working in order, and make sure that the piston is operating at all the right timings, and that basically ensures that the fuel is coming in, expanding, burning, and getting out. So that's the working components of your four-stroke engine. The rest, and then the shaft, this is the shaft that is the power is transmitted through to your drivetrain, and this is the cam is right inside somewhere here. When we do the dissection, we'll be able to see the insides of all the components of this engine.